And my daughter was in the living room, and at the time I had this fabulous Franklin planner with my whole life in there. And I'm in the kitchen preparing an elaborate gourmet dinner for my family. I didn't. But I was thinking about it. And then I came back in, and I noticed that Haley, my daughter, is on the floor with my planner open with a big black permanent marker in her hand. So I walk in, and I'm like, just ready to pounce. And she, at 2.5, said, "Mommy, stop and take a big, deep breath." And I thought, okay, she's right. Stop. She hit that pause button for me. So what are the typical things that might become the object of our cravings, of our desire? For women, it might be carbs. For men, maybe sex. For women, it might be shoes. For men, maybe sex. For women, it could be sugar. For men, possibly sex. And for women, it could be designer handbags. And for men, even the remote possibility of sex. Now, Matt back there suggested that I might be a little unfair and one-dimensional, a lens that I was looking at men. So he said I should have at least included a sandwich as an object of a desire for men. So thank you, Matt, for that correction. So if there were men here, I would say to you that when I talk about the variety of objects that women connect to in terms of their craving, just insert sex or sandwich, and we'll all be on the same page. Stimulus, choice, response. It's not what happens to you that determines the quality of your life. It's what you do with what happens to you. It's not the people who have the easiest life who become most successful in life. It's those who know how to respond to the trials and tribulations and the crises that occur. To all of us. That's the human condition. Allow some grieving time. As you make these radical, wonderful, fabulous, scary changes in your organization, in your restaurants, you have to recognize that you'll have some people who are hunkered down, holding on to the past. Give them a little bit of grieving time. People always ask me, well, how much exactly? That's the art of leadership. There is no formula for that one. You'll know it. You'll know how long, and it varies per person. It varies per person. The magic quarter second, because we only have about a quarter of a second before our habits kick in, before our personality takes over, and before all our ingrained patterns start playing out. So you know what I'm talking about. It's that spot, it's that place where we can stop ourselves before we go into kind of reaction mode. So the gap between stimulus and response is the moment of choice. Now, when good things happen to us, when that's the stimulus that we're experiencing, it's easy to make a positive choice. But when something comes at you that's negative, a disgruntled customer, an unhappy coworker, then it's much harder to make a winning response in that moment of choice. We sometimes react. We react without thinking. Our habit kicks in. Somebody's pressed our button, and we don't stop ourselves before we react. Old-style change leaders believe in authoritative, top-down imposed change. They do so without explanation. They impose change and they say something like, "Do it because I said so." There was a samurai warrior who was running through the woods because he was being chased by a bear. The bear chased him off a cliff, and he was falling off the cliff. He reached out and grabbed a hold of a branch that was extending from the cliff wall. He was holding on for dear life, and he hadn't fallen very far. And the bear was reaching down with his giant claws, trying to grasp that warrior and grab him and bring him up. And the warrior looked down on the ground. He didn't have far to drop, but on the ground were these lions waiting for him to drop, holding on to his branch, his lifeline. And then he looked to where the branch was extending from the cliff wall, and he sees groundhogs nibbling away at the branch. You been there? And then he notices on the end of his branch, for some reason, there's this wild clump of strawberries growing there. And he reaches out with one hand and he grabs a strawberry and he takes a bite and he says, "Ah, delicious." We all have bears of our past, lions of our future, and groundhogs of our present that are there all the time. But can we just enjoy the strawberry, that's right now? That's right here, right now. That's practicing gratefulness in turbulent times. That right there is practicing gratefulness.